The sun was sinking low over the Montana plains, spilling gold across the dust and the bones of the land. The wind whispered through the cattle pens, carrying the scent of leather, whiskey, and regret. Jackson Hale sat tall in the saddle, his weathered hat shadowing eyes that had seen too much and spoken too little. He was known across counties as the Silent Rancher, not because he couldn't talk, but because he never wasted words on a world that had long stopped listening. He had buried his laughter with his wife 2 winters ago. Since then, his ranch was the only thing left breathing in his life: cattle, fences, and an old horse named Clyde. But that day, the loneliness hit different. Maybe it was the whiskey-stained air of town, or the sight of desperate men trading souls for silver. Jackson was just passing through when he heard the shouting. "Come on now, don't go turning your nose up. She's a fine girl, just quiet is all," barked a heavy-set man standing in the middle of the dusty main street. His cheeks were red, his breath sour with drink, and beside him stood a frail young woman with her head bowed low. Her dress was old but clean, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. She didn't speak, didn't even flinch when her father, if that's what he was, shook her shoulder roughly. Jackson slowed his horse. Something in that silence pricked his chest. "How much?" Someone in the crowd sneered, tossing a coin up and catching it. The drunk man squinted. $50. She's deaf, but she can work. Cook, clean, whatever you need. She don't talk back, neither. The crowd laughed. Jackson didn't. He swung down from his horse, his boots landing hard in the dirt. The sound made the girl's eyes flick up for the first time. Big brown eyes, wide and frightened. There was something there, a spark, like she wanted to say something but couldn't. Jackson stepped closer. "You selling your daughter?" he asked flatly. The drunk man hiccuped and spat to the side. "Ain't much of a daughter if she can't even hear her, old man. She's better off with someone who can use her." Jackson's jaw tightened. He didn't like the word use. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small pouch of coins. 30. The man laughed. 50 or she stays. Jackson looked at the girl again. Her face was pale under the dirt, but her chin lifted just slightly, as if she didn't want to be pitied. That quiet pride sealed it for him. He tossed the pouch. 50. The man caught it, grinning wide, already counting the coins with greedy fingers. "She's yours, cowboy. Don't say I didn't warn you. She don't hear a damn thing." Jackson didn't reply. He turned to the girl. "You got a name?" She hesitated, then shook her head slightly. "All right then," he said quietly. "You'll have one soon enough." He gestured to his horse. "Can you ride?" She looked up at him for a long moment, then nodded faintly. He helped her mount behind him, and as they rode away, the wind carried the sound of her father's laughter fading into the dust. The ride back to the ranch was long and silent. Jackson didn't push her to speak. The plains stretched endless, painted gold by the dying sun. At one point he glanced back. Her eyes were fixed on the horizon, her lips moving ever so slightly, almost like she was humming. But that couldn't be, she was deaf. When they reached the ranch, he led her to the small cabin by the barn. "You can stay here," he said. "It's safe." She nodded again, still avoiding his eyes. He handed her a clean blanket. "There's food in the kitchen. I'll get you some boots tomorrow." She took the blanket carefully, her hands trembling slightly. He turned to leave, but then, just before he stepped out, he heard something faint. A whisper. "Thank you." He froze, turned back slowly. She was standing near the door, head bowed, pretending she hadn't spoken. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe the wind had played tricks. But something deep inside him stirred. He'd heard that voice, soft, shy, barely a breath, but real. Jackson didn't say a word. He just tipped his hat and stepped out into the night. The stars were burning bright over the ranch, and for the first time in years, he felt something alive again, something he'd thought was gone. Inside, the girl sat on the bed, clutching the blanket. She looked toward the window, toward the man who'd bought her freedom disguised as ownership, and under her breath she whispered again, "Thank you." The wind carried her words through the cracks in the wood, straight to the man, standing under the open sky. He heard it, and that's when Jackson Hale realized the girl he'd bought for silence was hiding a secret far deeper than her voice.